everybody, welcome to Banner and Chance. We got a great little campaign here going, and this session, I'm really excited to see what our characters do next. I'm going to go around the table very quickly, and I just want everybody to tell us once again who you are and who you're playing. Then we're going to take a little bit of time and get into what happened last time, and then I'll introduce the session, and we'll get going. So, Brad, why don't you kick us off?
Okay. I'm Brad. I play the brass dragonborn paladin Rogar Norixius.
Hi, I'm Luna, and I play the human monk Geen all the way from the Far East.
Hi, I'm Aiden. I play Kane, the human fighter wizard who comes all the way from Waterdeep.
Hello, I'm Shady. I play young Runt, and she is a human rogue.
And I'm Tim, and I'll be the DM for tonight. And so, without further ado, let's talk about what happened last time on Banter and Chance. After following on the trail of Uncle Burkle for several weeks now, they finally caught up to the Grey Patriots and were able to rescue Uncle Burkle. Geen and Kane racing towards the Temple of Chauntea, where they sequestered Uncle Burkle deep under the ground in the fortified storage areas of the Chauntean temple known as the Bounty. In their protected alcove, they entered the mind of Burkle, and after completing a series of challenges that helped to alleviate the barriers and the causes of madness, they were able to resurrect his consciousness. It was a big job. It almost cost Kane his life, and he was lying unconscious for a portion of it. But returning to this world out of the mind of Burkle, our players were able to ask him a few questions, but it really quickly became apparent that as Geen pressed him for knowledge and answers around her sister, something else was there. Something that pained Burkle greatly. For while he was able to answer a few questions, it was as if every question that he answered slashed at him, until finally he was unable to continue and fell unconscious. As we left last session, there was a knock on the door, and Jahar Brightsong entered the room. The elven minstrel, which they had first met in Ashabenford. A person that we know has a very special place in Burkle's life. She is now sitting with him. And she's been sitting with him for several hours, for exhausted our party required rest. And with not else much to do, as the acolytes of Chauntea saw to the healing of Kane, the rest of our party was able to rest and recuperate for a number of hours. As they begin to wake, they see that the High Harvestress and Jahar Brightsong are talking in private near Burkle's bed. The High Harvestress had looked exhausted. So we're going to move into tonight's episode. This is episode 15, Acrimony and Cheese. And with this, I will turn it over to our players. As you rise, what do we find you doing?
I'm gonna go check on Kane and see if he's awake.
Kane, indeed, you are awake.
Kane, did you guys make it out okay?
We did. We found many things within your uncle's head, many questions answered and unanswered, but he's okay. He's here.
That's
But
good to hear.
there seems to be something upon him, something that won't let him answer more questions about my sister. We did get some information, though.
Could you tell me?
Well, supposedly, what you heard about her being called a witch was true. She is supposedly powerful, but I don't know if she's bad or good. If she's bad, if someone made her that way. But she's in Baldur's Gate, where
Oof.
Karathor grows his Luhix, or where his network is strongest, Burkle said. And
It kind of sounds like that's where we're going next, huh?
yes, but he also said Karathor is leading an army. For what, against what, I don't know, but if we go there to find her, we're going to be against a very, very big person. I don't know what we're going to do.
We've gotten this far. I say we should keep on pressing. Right?
I don't know if we also want to try to help your uncle. He seems to have something like a curse on him. But I don't know how to fix it.
I look over to where Burkle's bed is. I see both of them. I was like, is that Miss Brightsong?
Yeah, she got here when we came out of his mind.
Oh, that's nice. I start to get out of bed and kind of using my spear as kind of like a crutch and start rubbing my head. It's like, man, that mind stuff hurts, doesn't it?
You don't have to tell me again. It really was painful going back in. But it was strange. We saw different people in his mind. They seem to mean the different feelings he has. Lady Brightsong was there. I think she was his happy feelings. And my sister was there, and she was his sad feelings. Your father was there. We spoke to him, but I don't think it was really him, more like just a picture, just something that we could talk to.
Let go of the past.
But also that thing was there as well. The Shadow Man.
Ah,
He was in there too.
that might be his curse.
As Geen and Kane are talking, Rogar and Runt, you are well within earshot. You are mere feet away. What would we see you doing at this point? Runt from underneath her bed.
Yeah, she's still underneath the bed, probably making sure that no one knows she's awake.
Okay.
Sitting on the edge of the cot, listening to what is transpiring, but not interrupting.
You can continue to talk at this point. You can see that the High Harvestress and Brightsong are still poring over Burkle here. Quite a serious conversation going between the two of them as they examine him.
Do you need
If
anything, Kane?
Sorry, say that again?
Do you need anything?
I'm fine. I'm gonna check on Burkle. And I head over to Burkle.
if he sacrificed everything for your sister, and he tried to run away with her, why would she poison him?
I don't know. She was never someone who would be or do evil things. I wonder if, like Burkle, she's under some sort of curse that's making her this bad. But do you think she caused him to be this way when they ran off together?
Perhaps not immediately, but over time. He said so himself, that she was the one who wove the Luhix into his body.
Right. I wonder, though, did she leave with him because she wanted to, or because she thought that she could harm him? Was she working with Karathor, pretending to run? None of this sounds like her. At least the Misao I knew and grew up with. But at least we know where she is. Have you been to Baldur's Gate?
Briefly.
Is it a big city?
Very large. It's where Run and I met.
You never told me any stories about how you two met.
I ultimately came from a smaller town in the south, at the base of a great mountain, where my clutch existed.
What's a clutch?
My family,
Ah.
a group of eggs.
Ah.
And heading north eventually to Baldur's Gate in pursuit of one thing in particular, I inevitably crossed paths with that plucky youth who's still slumbering underneath that mattress. She was being chased down by a number of boys.
Sounds like her.
Well, they thought to catch her in a corner. It's like chasing a wild creature into a corner. I had little to do but to intervene, chasing them all off, but I have no doubt in my mind that she would have scratched eyes out if she could.
And then you two stayed together.
Traveling east from there. When you run afoul of a thieves' guild, it's not wise to stay around for long.
I wonder if she misses it. If we-
At this point, Run's probably going to be crawling out from under the bed, and rubbing her eyes. Hey, do we have something to eat or to drink or some foods?
Like before, there's a counter laid out with a wide assortment of food and drink.
No, she's going to start stuffing her face.
What would she go for on the table?
Meat and alcohol. If there's alcohol on the table.
There is a fair amount of both. Kane, as you watch the High Harvest, and you saddle up next to the High Harvestress and High Harvestress and the famous bard. You can hear them speaking in low tones, really comparing notes over what they think have gone on and what is really holding Burkle and what they might be able to do about it. And it appears to you that they've been up all night, really sort of going through things and, trying different things. And the High Harvestress, to your mind, is quite frustrated. Brightsong appears angry with herself and scared.
As I walk up, do I hear anything of what they're talking about?
They regard you. They note that you're there. You hear Brightsong say, if we hadn't lost it, if we hadn't lost the amulet, we may have avoided this altogether. And now we need it more than anything. I don't hold Braden Yill responsible. But it would have solved so many of our issues.
What amulet are you talking about?
The High Harvestress breaks her concentration from what Brightsong is saying. She says, there are magics that I cannot undo. There are magics that I cannot affect. Lady Brightsong had a relic from Mithranor, the elven city now ruined. She had sent it north, originally intended for your uncle to help Gein's daughter, or Gein's sister. But it was intercepted. It was stolen. And had we had it, we may have saved Misao from Karathur. For we had received word from your uncle that he felt she was under a powerful curse, but could not be sure.
Do we know who intercepted it?
It was one of the things that I had sought to retrieve from Sand. But all Sand would tell me is that it was stolen from him. To him, it was a piece of jewelry. He didn't understand its worth.
Okay. Well, we do have his vault if we need to go looking through it.
I don't think that would be a bad idea. However, we had sent it north. It was stolen from Braden Yill. Braden had kept it safe as he carried it north. And Sand had said he had lost it. And he told me this as we returned from his encampment a few short hours ago. I don't think it would be a bad idea to look, but he seemed unaware of where it would be.
I might have a way of telling if that's true or not. No offense to Sand, but he did keep my uncle captive.
Well, he is still, as I found out this morning, he is still with the city guard, with the Harrowdale guard, and under their lock and key.
Has the constable arrived yet? I've sent for him.
He came as you were unconscious. He asked you to reach out to him when you had arose. We assured him that you were with us, and he bade you find him at their headquarters. He says you know where it is.
Nice.
That is also where Sand and Jaren are held. You may want to go talk to this constable.
I think I'll do that. Honestly, I should do that as soon as possible. I have a plan that might be able to tell the truth of what Sand is saying, but it's a long shot. And maybe me talking to the constable and revealing who I really am might get under their skin and might reveal something more.
As you can tell from what we faced at the village, this is not a safe place to be. If you are going to go looking for this relic, Brightsong and I agree that it's all we can think of right now to save your uncle. Brightsong turns to you and she says, "The amulet of Mithranor is special. It will bind Berkalish's soul to it, to this side, to its goodness. He is in danger." The High Harvestress puts her hand on Brightsong's shoulder. "I need you and your friends to understand what's at stake here. And I believe we need to proceed with all haste at finding this. And we have hours at this point. One thing is true to me. We could still lose your uncle. And you need answers. And we need you to have those answers. Circle your friends. Let us ready ourselves for what comes next. Do you agree?"
I agree.
With this, she comforts Brightsong and leaves you to gather your friends and gives you a few minutes to.
I go over to my friends and say, apparently we must get this amulet to Myth Draenor. They say it's the only way to save my uncle. And I think the earlier we get to do it, the better.
Behind Kane, you can see that the High Harvestress is sending a couple of the priestesses out, and very quickly they return with Bill Quorum. So he enters the room, having not been there for whatever reason, even though he had awoken with you, and with Griffaro Lockwood. Griffaro Lockwood is this tall, aged human paladin with a great hammer, who strides into the room. The immediate thing that you notice, Rogar, is that his armor has been freshly polished and tuned, and your careful eye notes that this gentleman now is ready to do something. He is on. He has tweaked and tuned himself up to a couple of levels over where he was when you met him more casually. The two of them come over to join you, as Brightsong and the High Harvestress join you as well. And she says, "I trust your friend has told you what we feel you must do. We feel you must see if there's a way you can retrieve this amulet. Sand Krulik felt betrayed when it was stolen. He wouldn't tell me much, but he would tell me that he feels it's close.
It was
Ah.
stolen from Sand or from Braden?
It was stolen from Braden Yill after the Lady Brightsong had sent it to him to try to help with your sister. But it was intercepted, stolen from his caravan.
How
We
does
found
Sand
out
know
that
of it?
because Sand was the one who stole it.
Ah,
Yes. But when I questioned Sand about it, as we were parlaying for the release of his people, as he was seeking forgiveness, he told me he did not have it. In fact, it was stolen from him. That is all I know, other than it seemed to pain him when we talked about it. And when I asked if he had any chance of retrieving it, he said perhaps, and that it could be close. But I don't know anything else. Your young wizard friend here has offered to go and question him, and I think that makes sense. I feel this is very important. I can't figure a different way to save your Uncle Kane. She takes a few steps back. Brightsong says it's so good to see all of you again. If you can help Burkle, I would still be so in your debt.
Kane, do we all need to go to question Sand?
I don't think all of us need to. I know I need to. I have a plan. I would say maybe Rokar should come with me. Or actually maybe Geen. Maybe you would, since maybe Sen saw your sister pass through. That might freak him out a little. No offense.
I don't think he ever saw her. Because she was never near Braden. But if you
But he-
don't mind, I think Rogar should go. I'd like to stay. Seeing Jaren would just make me angry. And I know he's not bad anymore, but still. I'd like to stay here.
As you wish.
And Bilk, if it's okay if I stay here, would you mind cutting my hair?
Oh, I wouldn't mind at all. I even brought my shears. Not a problem. And he begins to busy himself running off and getting a stool and finding a tablecloth that is the right size that he could, gathered around. And he very quickly busies himself doing that.
Rent, do you want to go or stay?
That depends. Do you maybe want to make this person talk really, really bad? Yes? No?
Kane?
Oh, sorry. I'd say maybe, if you would like to.
I have a way of detecting whether or not he's telling a lie.
Okay, yeah, but do you have a way of just making him hurt if he tells a lie?
I mean, remember what happened last time when Runt tried to talk to somebody?
Don't worry, I have an ace up my sleeve, and I show this. I move the staff a little.
Okay, fine. If you want to do it the hard way, that's okay.
You can go, Runt. I'm just going to stay here with
No,
Bilk.
you know what? I don't even want to go. I'm just going to eat and I'm going to drink and okay, I'm going to do that. There.
Well, if you stay, Runt, after Bilk cuts my hair, I did have a question. If you could teach me how to throw a dagger?
Oh yes, I could teach you.
Okay. We'll be fine here, Kane. You and Rogar go see Sand and Jaren.
Make sure Burkle's good.
We'll keep an eye on him.
Yeah, we're going to keep a super extra eye on him. Yeah.
But not throw daggers at him.
We might not throw daggers at him. Maybe.
We'll go outside in the orchard to do that.
Yes. Maybe.
A few hours later, well, we'll say about 40 minutes later, Kane and Rogar, you find yourself outside the barracks and holding facility and main office of the Tower Watch of the City Watch. This on your map, just if you have your map of Haredale handy, is Building 7, located roughly in the middle and at the intersection of the two largest streets of the town. Kane, you've been here before. You are immediately granted access. You are recognized, and your insignia.
Right before we go in, I'm
Sure.
going to clip the pin that was given by the constable in my cloak, and then I want to make sure that the spear is behind my cloak.
Sure.
I want to have the Spellguard symbol out.
Sounds good. You are admitted into the constable's office. This is not the constable that you had met previously. This gentleman stands up. He's younger than the previous, sandy haired, probably 35, 37 years old. He introduces himself as Arando. Bail Nar is his name, and he invites you in almost immediately. He says, "Thank you for coming. We received word a few moments ago that you would be coming from the High Harvestress. We understand what business you are on, and we'll do anything that we can do to help you." What can we do for you? What would you need from us?
I need to talk to Sand and his son.
Yes, we've put them into a separate room for you to do just that.
Good. Also, those pebble things that tell when a person's lying, I need one of those too.
Oh, absolutely. He snaps his fingers, and immediately one of his colleagues brings one over. It's a carved wooden dish with a white pebble the size of a tooth in it.
Do I need the wooden dish for it to work?
No, it's the pebble, but they tend to jump around, and so I would suggest the dish.
I want to make sure that I don't know that they're not telling the truth. So I give them back the wooden dish, but I keep the pebble in my hand.
Okay.
And right before we enter the room, I want to look over to Rogar and say, "All right, my plan is I'm gonna talk to him, get under the skin a little, see if they reveal anything, and if you want to hold on to the pebble and just make sure and just tap my shoulder or something when they're lying, so that I know, we might be able to get something out of them." Sound like a plan?
I'll clear my throat.
I give him the pebble, and I guess we both walk in.
You see that both of them have been shackled to the table. The table is moored into the floor itself. You can see that it's very, very stout. The shackles are steel, and they run through a pin centered, and they allow extremely limited movement. They don't appear mistreated. Their clothes are cleaned, in fact, freshly laundered. They look well fed. Jaren's eyes shift nervously, and he appears somewhat humbled and ashamed since the last time you saw him.
I walk in and say, "Sand, Jaren, it's good to see you again. I have some questions to ask both of you."
You can ask what you want.
Good. Now, I'm just wondering, why did you have Burkle under your supervision while he was at your camp?
We transported him. We were told to pull him from Grimshackle jail, put him on a barge, and get him across the Moon Sea, downriver.
Now, who told you to do that? Just wondering.
We were under the employ of Karathor. We received word through his network to do just this.
Okay, I'm gonna quickly take out the spear and put it against the wall and hang up my cloak on it, just so that Jaren can see.
You can see Jaren sort of shift uneasily, and his father looks at it coolly, looks back at his son.
Now, I just want to make sure the story's straight. Now, I've heard that you've had this amulet that was for Burkle and my friend's sister. You said it was stolen from you, correct?
As we fled Crown Cove, as we evacuated, it was on my private boat, which I don't believe you're unfamiliar with. My son, and you can see a momentary flash of anger towards his son. My son, who I've forgiven, sought to steal that boat and all that was aboard it. That javelin of mine, I threw it at my son to stop him, out of anger. He had sunk so low, and I'm sorry, boy, but you had.
Talk about a bit of tough love, isn't it? Now, who stole the amulet?
He did.
Oh,
And Jaren sort of lowers his head in shame.
yeah. I put my hands on the table right in front of him, staring him down, just saying, now, where is that amulet now, Jaren?
When you and your crew were on the boat, I took it with me, and when I came here to Harrowdale, I gave it and a few other belongings to... I'm sorry, Father. I gave it to Karathor. I gave it to his men here in the city. I gave it to them in an act of allegiance, to prove to them that I was one of them. You saw how that turned out.
Do you have the names of these men?
No, I met them here. Oh, I met them at a warehouse. They took it. They seemed amused with it. I feel so stupid. I know I didn't have a choice, Dad. You don't know what it was like. Years in prison. And I was running with a group of werefolk. I wasn't happy. I'm still not happy, but for my part, I'm sorry. All I can say is I didn't know it was that important.
Could you tell me where that warehouse is, where you've met Karathor and his people? Karathor's people, I mean.
Whether you noticed it or not, Arnando, the Grey Cloak, the Grey Watch, the City Watch, comes up to you and hands you a piece of parchment. Also a relatively simple piece of parchment that seems to have been mass printed, but it is in fact a map of Harrowdale. Show us where it is, boy, he says. And as he hands it to you, he steps back.
Does he show it? Does he show us where it is?
So you place the paper in front of his two shackled hands, and he's able to move his fingers around, and indeed he shows you that he says the warehouse is here, down by the wharf. For all of you with maps, he points at building 53 down at the wharf. It's a wretched place. It's a stinking place. The constable puts his head over your shoulder and says, I know this.
How many people are expecting there?
I don't know. It's a relatively reputable place. Stilton Docks, it's called. Merchants. They deal in cheese.
Any secrets in there that we should be worried about? Any traps? Anything at all?
It's a warehouse, as far as I know. I wouldn't. Well, let me just say, if you're up against Karathur, I wouldn't put it past them. But, far as I know, it's what handles the most of Harrowdale's cheese.
Cheese. Okay. Anything else you can tell me about Misao? My friend's sister?
Your friend's sister?
Yes. I believe you call her the witch.
Ugh. And you can see him grasp some sort of his own amulet or necklace as he takes a deep, cold breath. There's a few things in this world, when you look at them, they pique your interest. Beautiful. Like a mushroom, or a flower, or a berry. Ripe. Tasty. But then you soon realize that a taste could mean death. And that's the feeling I get with this one. Be wary, boy.
When was the last time you saw her?
She came through here weeks ago.
Did she tell you where she was going?
Ha, no. What I can tell you is that after she'd been through, we've never seen trouble on such a rise as it is now. That's what all the guards are for. That's what all the checkpoints are for. The Luhix.
Speaking of Luhix, where do you grow it?
I don't grow it.
Well, do you know where it's grown?
As far as I'm concerned, it was an abyssal plant. That's what I know. I don't even understand how they've got so much of it. I'd never heard of it before a few months ago, and let alone seen something like that in Harrowdale. Here we'd have the odd bit of mushroom powder. Nothing like this. Nothing.
Don't know any of the drug hideouts or spots that we can look for in this town?
We've tried. We've monitored a few. But we haven't had any luck, to be frank. And he leans in close. There are those, even on our watch, that I can't trust. So I would keep your questions tight, and to those who you know have your back.
Do you know these people? Turncoats?
We have our suspicions. We get close, someone dies. We get closer, someone dies. when we helped clean up your little mess from the other night at the temple, 2 among them were my men.
Yes, but any names you're suspicious of now that are still alive?
None. The shadows end. I wish I could tell you more, but I just can't. We're at a loss, and we're losing this war.
I think that's about all the questions I need to ask.
Kane and Rogar, everything appears to have been told to you in truth here. Jaren seems ashamed, and there's an uneasy tension between father and son as they listen to you and the constable talk. Jaren turns to you, Rogar, and he says, I need to thank you, sir, for saving my life. I understand. I owe you a debt, and I want to let you know that on my life and on the life of my father, I plan to do better. I've been on a wayward path, but I will do what I can to step right from here on out. And this seems to ease his father a little bit.
I pick back up the cloak and the spear, and I look over to Stan and I say, I guess you won't be needing this anymore since you'll be farming from now on.
Even if I wasn't farming, boy, I never want to see something I used against my own blood again.
Understandable. Family is everything, and that is why I'm keeping my Uncle Burkle safe with us.
The constable takes you aside and he says, I can't spare the men to help you, but if you have the slightest chance of running up against Karathur, you need all the help you can get, and I would suggest that you gather it, and gather it quickly. I can send word to the temple if you like.
We'll be heading back there shortly. Just warn your men. Warn them of what's to come.
We'll do what we can. I'm sorry it is much.
Just wondering, where's the other constable? Constable Falk.
Falk was killed 2 nights ago.
By who?
We don't know.
Where was he found?
In his bed.
Is it still an investigation site?
It is. But we've got that under control.
Make sure you find the men who did it.
We
For my
will
sake.
try.
Thank you.
Rogar, is there anything that you want to do as the constable begins to show you the door?
Turning back to Jaren. As I pass the stone to the constable, make good on your promise. The gods are everywhere. They even walked among mortals at a time. So be wary what you promise. Unless you absolutely positively mean it.
turns to his father, and his eyes go back to you, and he says, I will. Perhaps our paths will cross again. Soon, I hope.
I would like to see to it that as soon as our business is wrapped up here, you're taken back to your plowshares and able to get on with life.
The look, then, that he gives his father, and his father gives you, for the time being, fills you with a fair amount of confidence that they tend to make good on their promise. You only take a few minutes to return to the temple, and despite you saying that you were heading back there, as you arrive, the High Harvestress is there to meet you. Geen and Runt, while they were gone, and roughly 15, 20 minutes before they were back, the High Harvestress and Griffero came to see you. Geen, just very briefly, tell us the sporty new look that Bill Coram has given you.
I just wanted like a short bob that just kind of like came to here, and then with just like a little bang.
Well, he has given you this, and he has added a certain amount of style that you did not ask for, with the bob coming to a rather abrupt point. And he assures you it is fetching and all the rage. Runt, you see her new haircut, and what would your first reaction be?
You look very pretty.
Thank you.
Bill Coram offers you the chair soon after he had finished with Geen, suggesting first a sound and thorough shampoo. But as this was sort of unfolding, Griffero came to both of you and said, "We are called. The High Harvestress needs us outside immediately. It's important."
I guess we'll have to do that dagger practice later.
I feel you may get that dagger practice before the day is over. Well, perhaps not the dagger practice, but you, little one, may get your chance. He motions to the two of you to come up through the bounty and into the courtyard, up through the stables and into that hallway space between the two buildings. And there you find the High Harvestress there with Brightsong. The Brightsong quickly says, "Whatever you can do for my Burkle, I hope you do it. And please know that if you ever need anything from me, you just have to ask. I know how much you're laying on the line." And she quickly hurries away, awkwardly almost, as if she can't stand to be alone from him or not know that he's safe. You know that Pevik has withdrawn into his little closet. You know that Burkle was there surrounded by acolytes, and you quickly see her dodge underneath behind the secret door and lock it. And the High Harvestress turns to you and says, "Your friends will be arriving shortly. My understanding is they've received information that I feel we can use, and it fits with a lot of what we know, although we didn't have a place to start. I don't know if the amulet is there, but it's the best lead we have. And as I say, we are hours away from this going very, very wrong. As she's having this conversation, this is when Rogar and Kane, you are now just coming into view. She gathers you together and she says, "I need you to understand what's going on here. from what I can tell, Cain, your uncle's soul is bound. It's not a standard type of curse. Brother Rogar, you will know this. I can't break it. The binding is too strong. Our hope, like before, is to bind him to the amulet. We can hold him in this world. We can't cut this bind that he currently has. The consequences are too dire. For your uncle would walk among us, undead. His soul would be carried to whatever evil it's bound to. He would be lost to us forever. We could not resurrect him. Do you understand? And we would be
Yes.
left with the difficult task of killing the zombie that was once your uncle. That is not the fate I want for him. You need answers. We need to get that amulet. My understanding is you have a lead.
Yes, there's a warehouse on the docks of Harrowdale that apparently Jaren Yeel and Karathor's and some of members of Karathur were there. We might be able to find something there that could lead us to those people.
What does this amulet look like? What would we search for?
It's a string of jade beads. There is a jade, like a horn at the end of it. It's a horn-like shape, like a teardrop tilted on its side. And within the heart of this runs a vein of pure blue. And this item is ancient magic, ancient elven magic, from before the breaking. We don't really know where it came from, short of that. Just that it can bind people to it long enough for us to do what we need to do. I can't honestly tell you if he'll be bound to it forever. I don't know. But Brightsong and I have conferred, and this is what we think must happen. If you trust us, this is the best way forward.
If we can't find the amulet in time, could the evil that binds to Burkle be transferred?
It's necromancy. Most foul. It may be transferred, but not by me.
You said before, the man that you were trying to speak to that was killed by Rogar, the magic that bound him couldn't have just disappeared on its own. It was strong magic. I think something I have made that magic go away. Do you think this could make Burkle's curse go away?
No. I know the item you carry. I'm prepared for it now, after our little mishap. It's a useful item, indeed. It will dispel certain magics within a certain radius. It's often kept to shield people from magical ears that are listening to them, to dispel magical bonds, which you saw quite handily it did for us. I was surprised, no doubt. But it's a useful trinket you carry. Unfortunately, its magic is no greater than mine or the wizards that I know and have at my disposal. We can't lift this. This is deeper This is darker. And this is permanent. So we are really trying to undo the permanent. Okay?
This magic just makes him undead or just
Right,
bad?
right now, this magic is tuned that if he attempts to betray your sister, he will die. If I attempt to sever this bond, his soul will be lost, and he will become undead. That's my belief. The magic doesn't make him undead. The magic simply binds his soul and will drag it away. It is like a tether on a river. If we snap it, he will be carried away by the river. We must apply a tether of our own. That is what the amulet will do for us, so we can sever the bond once we have a stronger bond of our own. Okay? Okay. All of you, I want you to be on your guard. I don't know what you'll face. Griffero will go with you. And the large paladin steps forward. He may look aged. We've been together many years, and he smiles at her. But he will help you. She steps back and she begins to cast. And suddenly, all of you are engulfed in a warm glow. The four of you, Griffero, and as you scan around your friends, admiring this glow emanating from everyone, a precocious little gnome standing at your feet.
Yuck.
I want each of you to please add 40 points to your max HD. Please don't add the hit points just to the max, okay? If that makes sense. So have your current full hit points, but you have an additional 40 points of room. You can feel this potential within you. I'd also like you to add 2 points of additional Constitution save. Okay? Sorry, both Constitution and Wisdom.
Constitution and wisdom?
Yes. 2
Just for
points.
saves?
Yes, 2 points. The 40 will last for the next 8 hours. The 2 points will last for the next hour. Okay? She also distributes... Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me. I got my numbers wrong here. 25 points of HP. Pardon me. Okay? Pardon me. 25 points to your max HP. And then she distributes among all of you, 1 each. And you can remind us very quickly how much lesser healing you have on you. But she gives you each a vial of bright blue liquid. Including one to Bilkorm. And it says, use this on yourself or your friends when you need to. Kane, you are familiar with this substance.
Mm-hmm.
These are potions of greater healing. And this is where, when and if you have to use it, they are worth 40 points each. Okay?
Okay.
You have a total of 4, 1 each among you, 1 to Bilk, and she also hands 1 to Griffin. Okay? So 6 of those are now with your core party and your 2 friends.
Right.
Spread among you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understand? Yep.
Yes.
We're good. With this, she says, with all haste, try to find this amulet and do it quickly. I'm
gonna quickly say to Rogargin and Run, I'll catch up with you when I upstairs. I just need to talk to Bright Sun and the High Harvestress.
Okay. The High Harvestress is going down into the bounty.
Mm-hmm.
She notices that you're there, next to her. She says, "What is it you need to say, young man?"
When worse comes to worse, and we don't find the amulets in time, I want you to try and bind that curse to me. He is my uncle, he is family, and I should be the one to carry that burden.
She puts a hand on your face and she says, "Son, that is a very generous offer. Would that I could. I don't know if I would have the heart to do it to you. I have to just say it's not an option. You have to be steeped in the necromantic arts, and I am not. I am a priestess of life."
Alright.
But your gift, or at least your spirit, is pure. Go with Chantia, son. Be safe. Save your uncle.
I head back upstairs.
Where would you like to go?
Warehouse on the docks.
And you do. You pass the constabulary. You head farther southwest on the main road, and then you take a turn towards the bay. Soon you find yourself standing in front of a low warehouse, single story. There is an office off to your right. On the right side of it, there is a double doors off a short drive. And you can see off to the other side, there's a small green space with some picnic tables and a fire pit in it, vacant. You can see movement behind the office doors. There appears to be no traffic going in and out. You are on a main street, and across the street from this warehouse, you're on a sub-street, and across the street from this warehouse, there are other warehouses, and this is a rougher part of town. You can see that there is a drunk man passed out next to a horse trough. Not passed out, but just slumped next to a horse trough, who eyes you as you approach, and he is pulling on a bottle. He seems surprised at the armor and the weapons that have come calling.
Does the warehouse look locked or protected?
It looks like no, not that you can tell. I mean, you can see that there's movement behind two windows on a stair, and the movement sort of fades. We're close to the end of the day here. You can see that parents are bringing kids up from the riverside, the shoreline, hurrying them home. Several of the businesses around are closing for the evening. There's not really any traffic here, and the smells of dinners are hanging in the air. And you see a blurry shadow leave the window, just the silhouette, and then the lights that were in the office seem to be dimmed somewhat, and you don't see any more movement.
Okay. I'm gonna quickly talk to the person in the trough, or who's by the trough. You see anybody going in and out of the building that seems more armored than us?
This building. This.
Yes.
Stilton Docks, this building. What I can tell you is they hire a lot of people. And they go in. They must leave at a dock or something because there's always people joining, but I never see the same two twice.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You have any gold or silver on you?
Ah,
Help an old man?
I give him 9 gold pieces. The rest of the money that I have.
9 gold! Yippee! He says, and he jumps to his face, and his tooth is good. So I'm gonna buy me a house, and he runs off down the street, and there's crotchety old run.
While Kane's doing that, just for my reference, I want to look up in the sky. Can I see what phase the moon is in right now? Is it out?
What phase would you be looking for?
The new moon.
You figure that it's about 2 to 3 days ahead of the new moon.
Okay. Okay.
Runt, this is your territory.
Okay, so first of all, we should probably see if there's like a back door or something, yeah?
Okay.
He said there are many people going in, but not as the same people coming out.
Yes, that means that everybody's probably dead.
Or maybe there are tunnels.
Earth was powerful. Then there might be a teleportation circle, maybe.
That too.
I say, maybe it may not be a good idea to split up. I was thinking maybe 2 of us try to go through the back and 2 of us try to go up front, catch them off guard.
Well,
Or
we
like
want.
maybe you guys can like go ahead and I can knock on the door and I can be like, hey, I hear you have people that come to work here, and I'm here for jobs.
We could do that. We're all looking for hard jobs.
Jobs! Then we see where everybody goes, so it doesn't come out.
If these are Karathor men and they see me, they might be alarmed. I don't think it's best if I go through the front door.
Maybe.
Well, don't we have like some magic to make you the difference? Magic?
don't.
Magic? Anyone?
I've
I
got
do not.
magic, but not that kind of magic.
Okay, so do you want me to knock on the door, or do you want me to go around to the back and see if there's another door? Or maybe they left a window open?
I'll get down at Runt's eye level and say, this is absolutely no different than Baldur's Gate. It's only a smaller city.
I'll be super careful. Super careful.
So do we
Okay.
let Runt go in by herself to scout?
Check for the back door first.
Okay, and I'm jetting off to the back to see if there's another entrance.
You can see that both as you round the corner, you see picnic tables in the fire pit. There is a edge which is on stilts and hangs out over the water. You are able to peer around it at a certain vantage point and see that there's a dock in behind this building with a crane on the dock. If you're not able to get underneath the building at all, however, there appears to be a slanted roof that has some transparent panels and louvers that allow the light in. If you you might be able to swim to the dock. There is a small current if you chose to. Other than that, the options are a double door at the front, and there's 2 doors, one with a doorknob on the office.
Okay, so I will go back and fill everyone in about this and say,
Okay, so maybe we knock on the door in the office and we say we're looking for work. But then you like cover your face. You like put on a cloak. And we say, oh, she's so ugly. She doesn't like to show her face. And they fall for it. Yes?
I'm looking at everybody else.
That could work. Last time they didn't really notice who you were.
Before,
But
Yes.
how well known are you around here?
I'm fairly well known. I mean, I've been around these parts a number of years, and people know that I hang out with the High Harvesters.
then you're going to mess up our plan. Go away. Shoot.
I'm afraid there's no sneaking for paladins.
I think we send one of our sneaky little friends here in. Maybe they can open up those two big doors for us. What do you think? Either that or I go and knock, and he slaps his warhammer.
Rent is as much as I don't know about this. She is a pretty good speaker. And Kane, you can send messages, right?
Yes.
So as long as you're within distance, you can always send messages to Runt, and if things go awry inside, we can always just go through the front door.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking, and it might just be obvious, if things go wrong or you want to send something to Kane, some sort of like secret language, code, something, so that she can speak to you or tell you information without her having to talk too much.
The only languages I know is Dwarvish, Elvish, and Gnomish.
I don't know those.
Well, I mean, maybe just like a cough, you know, if things are okay, cough one time, or if they're
As you're
wrong,
speaking,
I will
cough two
go.
times.
As you're speaking, you see someone emerge from the front door, where the doorknob faces out, closest to the double doors. It's a middle-aged woman. She emerges, turns the bail on the lock, ensures that it's locked tight, and then walks hastily down the boardwalk. Steps down from the stairs, walks the boardwalk, and begins heading towards the wall.
Does she ignore us completely?
Yeah, she
Okay.
seems to be eager to get home or
All right.
do what she needs to do.
So is this okay? We let Runt go in, and then if things go bad, we just... I'm trying to do what Griffaro just did.
Bang bang, he says.
I'm already picking the lock. Just so you know.
All right, so as you two are talking,
Go!
suddenly, the lock. Go ahead and.
I got a.
Yep.
26.
Oh yeah, no, it's a heavy iron lock, but you turn it. It's embedded in the door. You can hear the bolt slide back, and disengage from the jam.
I want to turn around as I open it and look at everyone and give them and then slip inside.
You enter and you'll all have maps now. So you enter the office portion of this building. It's a slightly sunken piece of floor, and as you go up a couple of steps, you're on a wooden floor that has two desks, one facing out the building, one facing towards the door. It's against a far wall, and there's a small hallway. It appears darkened. There's nobody there. The day's business is strewn across the the tables in papers and parchment, way bills, receipts, these kind of things. And you see behind these two desks, besides shelving and a few things, there is another door.
Can I go listen at that door?
Sure. You listen to the door. You also, and while you don't hear too much, besides what may be the faint squeaks of rats or something along those lines, your nose is assailed by a deep, musty smell, an acrid tang, which you're not unfamiliar with. Very similar to a cheese wagon you had ridden in not too long ago.
Is this door locked?
It is not.
Let's take a quick peek. We're just gonna peek.
Okay, so you're able to swing that door open, you're taking a quick peek. Immediately, as you open the door, you notice that there are three barrels on their sides next to you as the door opens. And as you look a little bit farther, you can see that there are large shelves arranged in front of you, on which there are various shapes and sizes, wheels of cheese, some smaller casks, and you'll see large yellow wheels and some smaller red wheels, and some wrapped in cloth and some wrapped in wax. And it's a lower building, but there's a 6 to 7 foot high shelf in front of you of cheese. Past that, you see a...
As I'm walking past that, I want to put my hand on the shelf and just run it along, knocking a bunch of cheese off as I walk by.
Okay, and you do.
Just make all the noise, Rent.
The rest of you see Runt disappear into the building. She's now been gone for a couple of turns. Okay. The door.
I'm gonna send a message to Rent. Is everything okay in there still?
Oh my god, I'm dying. Come help me. No,
I
no,
start
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There's lots of cheese and it smells bad. And that's all so far.
You want us to come in?
I mean, if you want to, there's nobody in here. And it's not a vacancy yet. But just a big place.
I'll go on. I think Rent says everything's still okay in there. So
Is there any? I'm looking around. Is there anyone in the area still?
No, it's relatively lifeless. This is sort of light industrial, and there isn't many people around. You can see the odd person going between buildings and whatnot, but nobody that you can see is watching.
I don't leave her alone for long.
Then
Right.
let's go. We'll go
Do
in.
you, Runt? What are you? So you're heading into these shelves? Then that's what you're up to.
Just browsing, seeing
Okay.
what I can find.
Bill Coram is with you. You file into the office. Are you being stealthy as you do it? Are you? Yeah. And why don't you all go ahead and just roll for me a stealth check?
Yay, paladin stealth.
Hey, I said it wasn't our strong suit.
Oh, dang it.
Oh, well, even with the disadvantage. Okay. I got a 13.
nah, nice. You got better than me. 10.
You walk into the middle of the this room, and as you do, you notice that Runt has tossed some of this cheese, or somebody's tossed some cheese in this. And in fact, Bill Coram, as he's going in, knocks over a jar of pencils. Sorry. Are you leaving? So you head into the back, and you're standing there. Runt, you're not readily visible as you've sort of moved farther in. But what you see through this back door is a pile of lumber, you see 2 wagons. One pointed outward at the double doors, one pointed to the north, and racks and racks and racks of cheese, and a large double door in the back, which you assume is what Runt had told you was the door to the dock. The 2 wagons, you are familiar with the construction of them. One looks very much like the Keenseeker's wagon that you were on, Runt. It's the one that's pointed out the door. The other wagon is emblazoned with a cheese manufacturer's name across it. And yeah, that is what's there. So the name Balderson is approached. Is Balderson is across the side of this.
Do we know what Balderson means? Do I know what?
Go ahead and roll I guess it would be a history check.
Yeah.
I'm looking for like basement doors.
Anybody with history proficiency can go ahead and roll.
18.
Yeah. Balderson is a type of cheddar.
Oh, okay.
And sorry, Geen is.
Oh, I had proficiency in history, but I thought that Geen wouldn't know anything about cheese, where she's from. But I'm looking for any like basement doors, like just looking at the floors and just
Sure.
kind of. Yeah.
So describe for me where you're looking, and go ahead and roll a investigation, please. Or
So we're all still in the office?
no,
is that
you're
what we
in the
are?
main warehouse now.
The main warehouse.
Yep.
Okay. Then I guess I would just start at one corner and just kind of make my way down, kind of like when you're mowing your lawn mowing your lawn. I can't
Sure.
speak English right now. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And the rest of you, as Geen is searching, and go ahead and roll that investigation for me.
I'm gonna head up to the office.
You were already passed through the office.
Oh, okay. It's right
It's the
there.
door that you entered in.
I guess
Got
I'll make
16.
I'll make an investigation check along with Geen.
Yep. Go ahead, both of you.
I got a 16.
15.
Going around the edge of the perimeter of the working your way around the perimeter of the building, you don't see anything immediately. In the office, you look through behind the desks and in the storeroom and whatnot. You cannot see anything. So you haven't found anything on the floorboards. Searching around the perimeter through the shelves or in the office.
Being at least civilized, is there a way to determine the value of cheese just by looking at it?
While you're not an expert in cheese,
Yeah, of
you
course.
can imagine that given the time it takes to culture and the craftsmanship that is involved in it, that there is, thousands of gold in this room. Right?
Okay. I'd like to take one
Yep.
that looks as though, is there one that has the label of the company on it?
There is. If you just tell me where you're going to go in the.
Well, like if Runt's knocked one on the floor,
Sure.
passing by.
Yeah, you can see that there's 3 knocked onto the floor.
Okay.
A familiar yellow shape that has the name Keenseeker across it, and a red shape that has Balderson stretched across it.
Okay. Picking up the Balderson one, I'm going to take it in my claws and break it in half
Mhm.
and look on the inside.
As you do, you open it up and you can see that there is a wax wrapped package on the inside of that cheese.
Bingo. Kane. Keen. Run.
Yes.
I want to peek out with a mouthful of cheese.
Holding the end that still has the wrapping inside it.
That was very fast.
I'll pluck it out. What shape
Sure.
is it in?
So it's like it's not in a bad shape. It's like a waxed envelope.
Okay. All right. I'll pluck it out and let the other hunk just fall to the floor.
Okay.
Should we open
Open it up.
Sure. You see a dusty colored powder inside it.
it? Lyrics.
And the smell of mushrooms. Kane, with your training, that you know that this is actually a hallucinogenic mushroom powder.
This is a mushroom powder that is a drug that's also on the streets. I guess this was a good place to look in after all.
Try the one that's red.
Oh, that was the red one.
Oh, okay. Try the other company's name.
Keep.
I say just holding the powder up, but not getting it anywhere near my nostrils.
Sure.
Mhm.
I'll pick up the yellow one and take out my shorter sword and just see
You're
if I can
able-
cut it.
Sure, you're able to cut into it and break it in half. When you open it, you can even cut it a few times. It's quite a large piece of cheese. You don't see anything inside, just the smell of what we would regard as Parmesan.
So is it only
seems.
And just quickly, what are the as you're examining these cheeses? What are the rest of you doing? Are
I'm
you
gonna
all
look.
gathered around?
I'm going to say, I'm gonna check around the whole area of this warehouse, see if I see anything out of the ordinary. Secret room, secret door. I want to check it out.
I want to chew on a massive hunk of cheese and
Sure.
run along the shelves, knocking more things off.
Go ahead and tell me where you're looking, Kane.
I'm gonna check around any really important areas, like maybe the cheese storeroom or the main warehouse.
So you are in the main warehouse. It's a single large room. The small storeroom simply had, ink and paper and, a few wrapping supplies. You search through, you see a couple of carts, you see a loading desk where there's some manifests on it. You see a bundle of timber. Again, there's the two covered wagons, the one that's unlabeled and the other one that's labeled Balderson. The covered wagon, the one heading out the door. You see several other shelves of cheese, but you're unable to. You're looking around the barrels. I guess I need to know. Everybody else starts to join you in your search, and I would ask you to tell me, the rest of you, if you want to try to interact with this space at all.
I'd like to check the wagon that is heading out, the wagon that is ready to be hitched.
Sure. You and Bill Corm joins you, start to pilfer through the wagon. It's empty. There's nothing in it. Pardon me. That wagon is largely empty. It's not so much ready to be hitched, but it is there. It does look well used. In fact, it looks like the wagon that the Keen Seekers were riding in. And I would also just ask you to quickly roll a... Ooh, what do we want to do here? Perception? Yeah. Sure.
15.
You notice a series of arrow holes in the side of it. This wagon is quite familiar. And it looks as though it's been on the road in the last few days. But other than that, nothing unremarkable about the wagon. Nothing remarkable about the wagon.
I want to go take a peek on the docks.
You're able to
Well-
slide a bolt back and open the docks. There's a large expansive dock, a large timber crane, and you can see the river running by. There's a boat out several feet off there that's lazily floating in the river.
Anybody on the boat?
Nope. Seems to be shut in.
No firelight or anything?
No firelight that you can tell.
Go back inside and lock the door.
Okay.
I'm gonna go take a look under the wagon, see if there's anything underneath there that maybe they wanted to try and hide.
Which one?
Under the covered wagon that's out to go.
Okay. Under that wagon, you see nothing other than a wood floor and some
Anything-
muddy tracks.
Anything weird about the wooden floor?
Nope. Nothing but looks like well-used shop warehouse flooring.
Are the cheeses in here only saying Keenseeker or Balderson?
There's several different types.
But like company names?
Just symbols and some dates and things like this on them.
Okay. But like the popular ones seem to be Keenseeker and Balderson or not?
Oh, those are two that you recognized right off the get-go. There's several other names around there. There's several other varieties of cheese, including some that seem to be wrapped in cloth, others that you're assuming you can see some salt wilting barrels. You continue to examine these shelves of cheese. Kane, having looked at the floor of the one wagon, and Rogar, at the wagon set to go, are you doing anything else? And Runt, are you doing anything at this point?
I'm eating cheese.
You're eating cheese.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
gonna use the blunt end of my staff. I'm just gonna go along the wooden floor, just tapping it until I get to like a hollow spot.
Sure, go ahead and roll an investigation for me.
Oh, come on.
I'm just like taking random things of cheese and just cutting them open and seeing if anything else has like
Sure.
powdered drugs in it.
Go ahead and roll a 20 for me, Geen.
Got a 24.
You continue to bank along, and as you are, you notice that the other wagon has no signs of road wear on it that you can tell. It's almost pristine. The steel of its rims looks almost brand new, unused. And tapping along underneath it, you hear as you're sort of tapping and looking at these wheels, you hear a hollow plunk.
Okay. Rogar, I need some help moving the cart.
I got a 14.
Sure. You don't find any other packets. However, when you crack open one more red-lined pack, you find a similar paper-wrapped package
Okay.
inside.
Red line cheese equals bad cheese.
Rogar, you're able to easily pull this wagon forward, and indeed underneath it is a double door.
All right. Rings in the doors themselves.
Yep.
Okay. What's the other paladin's name? Starts with a G.
Griffero.
Griffero. I knew I was close. Griffero,
Yeah. How you doing?
come help me with this other door.
Large doors, part, quite heavy, oaken, meant to be walked on, and you're able to swing them all the way over. And now they're at their vertical, and you can decide how you want to set them down.
If we are able to bear the weight carefully, not just letting them fall to the floor.
You set them down. As you peer inside, in the dim light, you can see that this section of floor drops away, and there is a descending staircase. And as you look down that staircase, you can see the faint glow of light. I wouldn't even say so much faint. It's a definite glow of light.
Secret tunnel.
I'll go first.
And who would go with him?
I mean, I'm cutting cheese.
I fall behind him.
All right. So Kane, Rogar, Kane, Griffero is there. Runt and Geen, you were up top.
I mean, did we notice him open the door?
Oh yeah, this was you. You heard things rolling, and you're seeing them. I would say unless you're going to say otherwise, unless you're going to tell me you're face down in the cheese. You could hear this wagon rolling. You can hear action going.
If I don't see Runt making a move for it, I'm gonna kind of grab her by here and just pull her towards it.
I grab
she's
bits of
nomming
cheese
cheese.
and throw them in my pockets.
Bilcorum is at your sleeve, Kane. Rogar taking the lead. This is a long staircase. It is about 6 feet across and descends rapidly in the direction of the town center. You go down several, I would say 2 stories, and the ground around you turns to the similar chalk that you've seen in the Bounty, carved out from underneath it. There is a smell in front of you of torch oil and a faint smell of spoiled meat, food, that overtakes the smell of cheese. There's some other smells that are hitting your nostrils you're not exactly sure of. It is damp and getting damper. And you continue down. Why don't you describe to me, you're now halfway down the staircase, and you can see the ceiling of the space that you are moving into is just slightly below your foot level.
All right.
When you said that there was light and it was obvious, is it ensconced?
What you can see is that there is torchlight that is lighting the bottom of the staircase,
Right.
and a stone platform in front of you. The direction of that stone torchlight is both behind and from ahead. And as you move farther down, you can see that there are braziers at the end of it, stone sort of floor, and there's 2 braziers at the far corners, and you can see a faint reflection of water.
I head towards the water.
Pardon me? You head towards the water?
Yes.
Yeah. You emerge onto the bottom of this platform, and I'm going to quickly fire all of you as you sort of spill out into this, and quickly Kane is behind you with Bilcorum, and Griffero is right behind. You can go ahead, and it's in Maps and Artifacts when you're ready to see it. You are standing on the end of this largely square platform. It is roughly 30 feet ahead of you, 40 feet side to side. You see that there is a boat in shadows off to your left. There are 2 burning braziers in front of you. There are 2 torches behind you. You can also see light on the far edge of a cavern ceiling and wall. And in front of that, you see that there are several shelves obscuring the source of this light. On the other side of a roughly 25-foot expanse of water, between you and this, the platform you're standing on, and this other platform. I would want each of you please to roll for me. Oof, perception.
Okay. Big.
20.
I got a
13.
nat one.
17.
Okay, Griffro is on alert. Bill Quorum doesn't seem to notice much. But Runt, both you and Rogar notice that there is movement behind those shelves. And you can see that there is there are shadows moving behind them. And Rogar, you, with your higher roll, are able to discern that it's the shadow of a single someone or something.
Someone or something.
Yes.
At least humanoid, in theory.
You can't tell from this point.
Okay. There's something across the way there. It's moving. How many people could the boat hold, at least in theory?
Two large people, 3 medium-sized people. It's like a rowboat. And you hear a high, shrill laughter. A mischievous kind of laughter coming from the other side. And then you see between the two foremost shelves to the edge of this platform steps what appears to you be a halfling. And that halfling is holding a large glaive. A large sort of pike. What do you call it? A long-handled sword or whatever. It's a glaive. And this kind of demented-looking little halfling is looking at you in sort of ragged clothes, and his skin is bluish gray.
Knocking an arrow.
Okay.
Readying my spear.
Roll initiative, all.
Oh, shit.
Got it?
Yep.
Don't fall off.
Okay. 25 and over. Sorry, 20 and over.
25.
And,
16 to 20.
yeah,
16.
17.
Got a +8 now?
Okay. All right. Next.
13 for Kane.
13 for Kane. Runt.
I hit it at 60.
$60. 16 or 6?
Yes, 16.
16. Oh, sorry, I missed it. All right. Griffer rolled 19, and Bilk rolled an 11. And a friend. Keen, you have an arrow knocked.
Mm-hmm.
Are your eyes on this?
Yeah, I'm. After Rogar pointed it out, I'm looking for him.
Okay, I would like you please to roll for me a wisdom save.
Beautiful.
Wait, just Kane or gaining Kane?
Keen.
Kane.
Don't forget your +2. that you
yeah.
get.
15.
All right, you feel this wave of a sudden feeling that this person is actually not a bad guy, but that wave passes, and he looks at you a little sidelong, and his lip raises up in a snarl.
I just kind of swear.
And now you can act.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead. Before I let my arrow go, I'm just going to, in Kozakaran, whisper to myself, "Be with me, Geen," and go ahead and take my shot. And I'm gonna use my bonus action for to add my Kansei shot to it. That is 23 to hit. That's 15 damage.
Okay. He takes the arrow, smiles, and in Kosakaran says to you, "No one is with you here," and then turns tail and runs behind the nearest shelf.
Okay. Well, so he's gone. He's out of range
He's out of sight.
Out of sight. Okay. Then for, I mean, I can't do anything for my second action other than attack. So
Okay.
guess
So, and your
we're
movement
done.
options now that you're mid-platform. Again, the boat is off to the left, and there is a rock in the middle of the water, off to your right. If you can see that on the map.
Oh, I see it. How far is it from the bottom of that platform?
Roughly a 20-foot jump.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen probably. Wait, hold on. Jump. What did we say before, Aiden? Jumps were what with your strength?
I don't think it was strength. I think it was dexterity, wasn't it?
Oh, hold on. There's a jump calculator here. My strength is, I think it's a 10.
I'm going to let you figure that
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah, go ahead and.
Yeah, Griffaro
It's a 10.
is Griffaro heads to the edge of the platform right now and gets into sort of a defensive stance. Rogar, you'll be next to Dact. You're on deck.
Okay.
And Geen, what are you doing for your movement?
Okay. Well, I can't really do it right now because I used my bonus action already, but I'm eyeing that rock, and from the platform it's 20 feet, but from the other platform it's much shorter. Because I'm assuming because of the picture.
It's slightly shorter from the other from the far platform.
Because I can make it if I use my Step of the Wind. Because I can do a long jump 20 feet if I use Step of the Wind.
Okay.
So I'm just eyeing it just in case when.
Got ahead?
Yeah.
Sure. We've got roughly 8 minutes to the end of session, so we're going to see if we can get in one. See if we can get one round. Okay, Rogar, would you like to choose to do anything?
I'm going to go ahead and get inside the rowboat and look up at Griffaro and say, "Get in, man. Let's go."
Griffaro begins to move towards you. Are you going to go ahead and try to get in the rowboat?
Yes, I'll get in there and get on one oar and let him get on the other.
All right. I would like you to just quickly roll a dex save for me. Dex check.
Sure you don't want to make it charisma?
Sure, I want to make it dex.
It's 13. Wasn't that bad.
You are unable to avoid a large swinging blade that descends the moment your foot hits the rowboat. You will. This is big. It's a huge pendulum type object. It slams into your back as you are hitting into it. I would like you to take 21 points of slashing damage as you are thrown by this massive swinging thing into the water ahead of you towards the corner of the platform. And then I would like you to roll an athletics check, please, as you are in very deep water indeed. Armed.
Is that disadvantage? No, it's not. 24.
You are able to keep yourself afloat and grab hold of the side of this steep-walled platform. We are now at you, Runt.
I'm eating some cheese because I don't know what to do.
Okay. Kane, is there anything you want to do as you're eating cheese? Or you just
I would
hang
like to
back?
take the dodge action.
All right. And where will we dodge to?
If someone attacks me, they have disadvantage.
Got it. Thank you. Pardon me. Kane.
I am casting magic missile at how many targets are there?
So far, you've seen one halfling, blue, holding a glaive.
Okay, well that person's gonna get messed up. I'm gonna cast all 4 darts at that one halfling.
They're behind a shelf. You can't see much behind the shelf as there is a wooden sort of intersection of the shelf.
Can I see it?
No, you cannot. You see the shelf.
Empty. Okay, then never mind. There's no way to get across. Is the shelf within 90 feet of me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna cast a sleep sleep spell right in there in a 20-foot radius,
Go ahead.
and that will be. God, I was prepped for magic missile, not sleep. Where are my d8s?
I like how Kane's wizard is all about magic missile.
2, 3, 4,
So effective.
5.
Mhm.
Then 2 more 6, and then where's the 7th one? Where's? I know I have one more d8. I'm so sorry. There it is. All right. Okay, 6, 12. 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20, 24, 27. 38 in total.
The giggling continues. The Bilk runs, is still at your side. He runs behind you. Griffaro is helping you up. We're top of the order. Geen, you can go ahead and take your action if you want.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and use Step of the Wind and take a long jump to that rock because I can jump 20 feet horizontally using Step of the Wind.
Okay. Great. Would you go ahead and run? So that doesn't require any kind of a roll, no?
I mean, I don't know if you want to do one for like landing it or.
Yeah. So go ahead and can you roll dexterity for me, please?
Yeah. Just straight dex or like acrobatics?
We'll say it's dex for this one.
Well, like acrobatics is dex, but like straight dex?
Whatever you're best at. Sure. I would say dex because it's not really acrobatic. You already performed your feat. You're hitting. I just want you to stick the landing.
Oh, okay. So just straight then. Oops, I dropped my dice. 13.
You hit this rock, and as soon as you do, it tilts as if made by paper mache, and floating in the middle of this black water. And its greased surface allows you no purchase as it bobs out behind you and bobs, erratically in this, and you slip underneath the water. I would like you to go ahead and roll athletics to see if you can swim, and tell me where you're going to swim to, please.
Well, I'm most likely going to be swimming whatever's closest.
Up would be a good point right now. Yeah.
Like up and
There
towards
seems to
where.
be, yeah.
12.
You are able to surface. You haven't gone anywhere, and now you find yourself splashing in the water next to this buoy. Emerging from the between the bookshelves now is a mass. The giggling has stopped, and in its place you hear a rather sickening sound, as if flesh is melting. something is going on behind those bookshelves. A large voice booms with laughter, steps between the edges of these bookshelves, and emerges. And where there once was a halfling with a glaive, now there is a large blue figure with a massive glaive standing there, cackling at you. And he raises his hand as if to cast. This creature, blue, cold skin, silver hair, in ragged clothes, clawed feet. Despite your splashing, you know this creature, Geen. Anyone else have an Arcana or what would we say? Arcana, history, or religion?
Yep.
So take a roll.
Religion, definitely.
Doing Arcana.
But not well enough.
17.
Both you and Geen know this figure. Runt? Any roll? No. And Griffaro seems stumped helping you up. But Kane, you see that this is an Oni, as do you, Geen. A large troll-like creature from the east. And he looks like he's reveling in everything he's about to do to you. And that's where we'll leave it.
Yay!
Whew. It took us a while to get down there. But here we are. We're a few minutes over, so with appreciation for everybody who's on and with our friends from the east needing to find sleep and without Kane to gain them to aid them. We're going to go ahead and we're going to ask the chat to go ahead and throw a bean at us. Please vote for your favorite player tonight, and we'll go once around the table. And I would like to
It's time for the magic beans. Ho! It's time for the magic beans. Ha! Time for the magic. Time for the magic. Let's see who gets the magic beans.
So let's see who gets the magic beans.
Beans
Same
long
order
out of
as
nowhere.
same order as our introductions. Let's rip around them. We'll find who chat voted for. Rogar.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bean to Runt
Awesome.
for just being impetuous and continuing to knock the cheeses over.
Runt, why don't you remind us what bean you were at and where that takes you to? If you can.
I believe I was at Inspiration and one bean.
Inspiration +1. Okay. And Runt, why don't you take us next since you're... Well, I guess we're going
I would like to give it to Geen for cutting her hair and actually having the courage to go with bangs because it's not always a good choice.
move.
Yeah.
She doesn't know he cut a wedge in the back of her head yet, but
Yeah.
all right.
I'm gonna give my bean to Runt because same thing with what Rogar said, just being good old Runt.
Excellent. And Geen?
I'm gonna give mine to Rogar for being super smart and opening a wedge of cheese.
Excellent.
Cheese.
We're gonna close. We're gonna go ahead and close it. And if we have the final one, I think. Just wait to hear, and then we'll. It is for Kane. So.
Oh, it's always me.
Bean for
don't know why.
Kane.
Chat loves
Awesome.
King.
Yep.
1 to Runt. Oh, sorry. 2 to Runt, 1 to Geen, 1 to Rogar, 1 to Kane. So thank you very, very much. And for that welcome back bean from Twitch. And we look forward to having more fun next week.
Yes.
Guys, we're a little bit behind here, so I'm just gonna, say thank you very much for sticking with it. And I hope you had a good time. So,
Yes. That was fun.
all right. Well, thanks very much. Try to join us again next week. We'll see what happens with this big Oni. All
I have to
right.
go get some cheese now.
Cheese.